Now, let me tell you how I almost ruined my relationship with my wonderful wife, Kim. Well, let me say this first. When I say ruin, I don't mean she was going to divorce me. Kim and I have resolved early on in our dating period, engagement period, that we were never going to divorce each other. And after all these years, we will be married 12 years in March. After all of these years, we have kept our word. We have still remained resolute. We're not going to divorce each other. So I don't mean there was going to become a end of life of our marriage, that we were going to be torn apart. But you know, like I know, that couples can be together lawfully, but soulfully, they're not together. And they can be in a marriage, but it's not a thriving marriage. And I didn't just want a surviving marriage, and God knows not a dying marriage, but I wanted a thriving marriage. So after about 4 years into our marriage, and it shouldn't have taken that long for me to realize what was going on, I came to the conclusion. I think we were having a conversation. When Kim and I talk, we typically have our conversations in our bedroom. And I remember she was sitting up on her side of the bed. I always stand or I sit in the chair, kind of in the middle of the bed, at the foot of the bed. Just trying to draw the picture for you. And I noticed that I was talking, and she was talking, but she wasn't talking. She was communicating and talking, but she wasn't sharing her feelings. And because this is what I do, right? I'm the premarital architect. Man, I began to see that, and I said, okay, my wife is not talking to me. First time I noticed it, I didn't say anything. I wanted to really just give it a field test in a couple of more conversations. And what I started noticing pretty quickly was that, no, she wasn't really sharing with me how she really felt, her true, authentic heart on these matters. And it was kind of like pushing the paper to the next office or kicking the can down the road, okay, yeah, that type of conversation. And oh man, that really grabbed me like no other, because first of all, kind of feeling like a hypocrite because I teach this stuff. I do my best to live it, but I was setting an atmosphere by which my wife felt like she could not talk to me. And I got to tell you guys something. I'm going to give you the number one reason, because you may be guilty of this. Let me raise my hand. I was, and I know there are some of you guys in there that's watching this, that you guys were guilty of it as well. Let me tell you the number one reason why your partner is not talking to you. And I mean, they're not sharing with you. They're not going deep with you. They're not giving you their opinion, right? They're just and pushing the paper along to the next office or kicking the can down the road. Why isn't your partner talking to you? You find yourself saying, she never talks. He never talks to me. And here's a big clue that they've checked out and talking to you. When it seems like they can talk to everybody else but you. You watch them talk to their parents, their siblings, and they're cackling and they're laughing with their friends, and you hear them in the other room having the deeper conversations with the other people that they love, but they won't go there for you. Let me give you the number one reason why. Now, there may be some small reasons around, but I really want to say the only reason. But I don't want to be that definitive. I'll give you the number one reason, and the second reason isn't even close. Because they don't feel heard. Write it down. Because they don't feel heard. So they're like, you're going to say what you want to say anyway. You're going to do whatever you want to do anyway. My opinion does not matter. My feelings do not matter. So what is the point of me telling you how I feel when you're going to say how you say and feel how you feel and do what you want to do anyway? I don't matter to you, so I'm no longer going to waste my breath on you. Wow. That's a hard reality. That's a hard thing to really grasp. And that's where I was. And I had to fix that, because I have also resolved, not only am I going to be married, I'm going to be happily married. And it's going to be a joy of my life to be married. And I want my life partner, my wife, to feel the same way. So I want to give you two principles of what I did to fix it that I think is going to help you. Number one, I need you to practice reflective listening. This is what I'm saying. I wish I could hold up a sign here. When they are talking, stop just waiting on your turn to talk. You're not really listening to them. You're really just waiting on your opportunity to speak. You're like a dog. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Please, are you finished yet? Is it my turn yet? And that's a big one. Is it my turn yet? You're not listening to them. You just want to talk anyway. And they can't even get a word out edgewise without you jumping in. That's another sign that you're not really listening to them. They can't get a word in edgewise without you jumping in and cutting them off, and they can't even get their thought. So you want to practice reflective listening. So, for instance, let me give you an example of that. For example, you can say things like, so what you're saying is, that's the key. So what you're saying is, so now you just told them, I'm listening to what you're saying. So what you're saying is, you felt ignored while you were talking to me because I had my cell phone in my hand and I was answering text messages or I was looking on my phone when you were trying to share your heart with me. Wow. Now you just reflected what they've said. And you know one thing reflective listening does, folks? Here's what it does. It also shows your partner that you're willing to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, this is what you said, but this is what I heard. And sometimes what they said and what I heard, they don't always match, right? And so when you reflect it back to them, so what I heard you say, so what you're saying is, it gives them a chance to make the slight adjustments so they can ensure that what they're saying matters to you and that is really taking off in your heart and you can give it back to them. Number two, I want you to validate before fixing. Many spouses jump to problem solving too quick. And men, whoa, guys, we have this bad. I mean, because we're fixers, right? God made us to fix problems. And so sometimes in our eagerness, okay, many times in our eagerness to fix the problem, we end up making our partner, our spouse, our fiancé feel ignored. When you validate before trying to fix it, here's how you can do that. You can say something like, you know what? I can see how that upset you. Yeah, I can see how that upset you. Yeah, that sounds really frustrating. Yeah, and this is where you can't have pride. The biggest killer in effective communication with our partners is pride. You know what they're saying is true. You know with everything in you, what they're saying about you in that moment is true. Instead of pride welling up, you ought to just say, you know what? I'm going to begin to validate and not retaliate. Because that's what we do a lot of times. What we do a lot of times, instead of validating their point and their statements, I can see how that sounds frustrating when they bring a grievance or an issue with us. We start to retaliate. Well, you fussing at me because I didn't take out the trash. I didn't say anything to you when you forgot to unload the dishwasher. No. Now is not the time to retaliate. Because when you start retaliating, because here's the thing about retaliation. If you felt a certain kind of way about them not emptying the dishwasher, you should have talked about that when it happened, if it really raised to the level of grievance. So you can't retaliate because they bring their issue to you. You want to validate and acknowledge them. You do those two things, I'm telling you, you'll get them back into the ring and begin to now tussle with you. I mean, in a good way, that we can have this conversation back and forward so that we can fix the issue. Yeah.